Hilary Barry, the co-host of TV1's Breakfast Show, is one of Aotearoa's best-loved broadcasters. If Judy Bailey's the mother of the nation, Hilary is more like the cool auntie. On radio and television, she's been bringing us the news for more than 25 years. Kia ora, Hilary. No mai. Hi, Mai. Welcome to our kouta. You matched the cupboards perfectly, which I'm glad to see because we can't have any of that clashing.
I've got to say, I love the colour on the cupboards. That looks really gorgeous.
We did it just for you. We thought, oh, that'll match Hilary's outfit. Mai kore ake koe, thank you so much for coming. Aha ko te nui o mahi. You've got so much going on. Did you just fit us in after breakfast?
Easy. Well, I was a bit peckish and I thought, what better thing to do than come along and bake a cake with you?
I hear that's what you do. Ko koe tēnā, ne? That's what you do. Just when you have 5 minutes spare, you just whip up something incredible.
I love it. So the key for me is, can I make it quickly? Because I love baking and I love making stuff for the teenage boys, putting in their school lunches that I've made myself, so I know what's in there.
How tēnei keke? What sort of cake are we going to make today?
Well, like I say, it's about, for me, easy. And you know what? When you have those bananas, they've gone a little bit sort of brown and they go a bit manky and nobody really wants to eat them.
Right.
That's time to mush them up and stick them in a cake, right? So what we're making today is a hummingbird cake. This is from a recipe book that I seem to have stolen off my mother. And this hummingbird cake was in it and we've made it for such a long time. I change it a little bit in that I do try and cut down on both the oil and the sugar a little bit because the bananas are really sweet.
Nā reira, e hara I te mea he keke noiho. It's not just a hummingbird cake, it's the Hilary hummingbird cake.
Yes, so adapted for my family.
And then what about in terms of te pururoro, the icing? What are you going to do there?
Well, I love a cream cheese icing, I have to say, but you can put a lemon drizzle on it. So you just use icing sugar, a bit of lemon juice.
Shizzle my drizzle.
Shizzle the drizzle on top. And that's healthier, but I love the cream chease icings. It does, so yeah, let's do the whole hog.
How te mahi tuatahi, what do we do first?
Turn on the oven.
What, fan bake?
Yes, I think so.
How te pāmahana?
I think about 170, 180.
He hanga kai whakauru e hoa, so what are the ingredients here?
Right, well we start with some pineapple. So this is a medium can, about 400 grams. Drain off some of the liquid. We need 1.5 cups of smushed up bananas, however many you've got. It's not going to ruin the recipe if you have too many or slightly under. 1/2 cup of desiccated coconut. The recipe calls for 1 cup of sugar, but you really don't need that much. So if you want to go a little bit more sugar-free, maybe 1/2 cup.
So brown sugar?
Yeah, brown sugar, definitely. 3 eggs, 1/2 cup of oil, 1.5 cups of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I need you to actually mash up some banana. Do you mind? Okay, so we might give you 4 of these. So 1.5 cups of that. Now I will get some grease-proof paper if you have it. And then we can, thank you.
Nā reira, kua rangatahi ke o tama. As you say, your boys are teenagers now.
They're growing up so quickly, it's amazing. And they eat so much.
I
oh
bet
my
you.
goodness, they eat so much.
Nā te mehe tama, because they're big growing boys, aren't they? Kua rahi, is that about enough?
Looks perfect. So to that, we can add some of this gorgy pineapple. There we go. Now, we'll just break the eggs into here. 3 lovely, gorgeous, free-range eggs, because those bananas looked nice and sweet. So let's just have 1/2 cup of sugar. Got one version of this recipe has 3/4 cup of oil. I use about 1/2 cup, so that looks about right to me. And now we need to whisk it all up.
Oh, okay. Anei te kōwhiwhiu. Ai, kei konei just right over here, I think. Someone messed with my stuff. No, it's down this end.
Oh,
nā kei konei
that's so much gear. I love looking in other people's kitchens.
Don't you though?
I really actually do.
But engari he ture, there is actually a law that you have to have about the 3rd drawer down. It has to be te weka weka katoa, it has to be messy, right?
That's guaranteed at my place. Okay, so now we're going to add the banana and the pineapple.
Right.
And we're just going to zhuzh that around. And would you have a spatula, please?
Ai, kei konei ke, and luckily, he ori te tai.
Do you do this for every guest? You match the kitchen
I just heard you were really high maintenance.
Okay, so now we're going to put in our dry ingredients too. So this is 1.5 cups of flour.
Right. Hara te mea me tatari, don't even have to sieve it?
No.
Love that.
Oh, we're not fussy, but actually we probably should sieve the baking powder and baking soda. Nothing worse than a little bit of baking soda on your tongue.
He kawa.
Maybe just 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And we have 1/2 cup of coconut, desiccated coconut. Fold it around.
Sukanaki, and just make sure that the bench
well, you've
has
got some for the bench, some for the cake tin.
So you just remember this, because you've done it so many times, you just remember this off by heart.
And the other thing too is, with a cake like this, if you don't get the proportions quite right, it's very forgiving. So just make sure that there are no more dry patches in there, and then we're going to pour it in.
Mama noiho. Nice and easy. It's got so many different textures and flavours.
Yeah, well, you probably want to check on the flavour by having a little lick.
We better.
I think it tastes pretty good, very banana-y.
It does.
So we're going to put this in the oven, maybe 45 minutes, but up to an hour.
Okay, so we're just going to do a little clean up as we go. He mea nui hoki tēnei me. It's important, because if you've got lots of... Look at me giving them to you.
It's quite all right. I'm used to cleaning up.
Ka oti tau ia koe, so you can do everything. I did actually want to grab this book. Ko koe kei roto.
How very handy.
There you are.
Oh my goodness, you've got the recipe right there.
Your hummingbird cake. I'm not saying just the same, engari. E hāngai ana. It's great because it relates. So why did you choose to be part of this Cooking for Change?
Well, Otis Frizzell hit me up at a cafe in Auckland one day and said, I'm putting together this cookbook for charity. Would you be part of it? And I said, sure. Auckland City Mission, Leukemia and Blood Cancer New Zealand, Poor Justice and Starship. So the proceeds are all going to them for the wonderful work they do. So who wouldn't want to be part of that?
And so you put your hummingbird cake in there because you are like a hummingbird. It's like, or maybe tirairaka, you might be more like a fantail, you know? We do have a saying that tō tirairaka, so that's a fantail that flits around and never stops. That's
a little bit like that.
Yeah, come on. So you chose this one because, I mean, it's awesome, it's easy.
It's easy, I make it all the time, and it's kind of one that's been in our family for a long time, so it was nice to share that with everybody. And Stacey, Cooking for Change is available in all good bookstores.
Nō nei he whakatairangi. You know what? I think you might even have a job in television.
Thank you. Fingers crossed.
Kei te pehe te keke, I can smell that beautiful kakara going on. So how's the cake doing?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because here's one I prepared earlier.
Ta-da! Ka wae ata mai ngā anahera. Did you hear those angels singing?
Oh, doesn't it look lovely? Sort of caramelised around the edge with the brown sugar and the pineapple and everything. That's all ready to go. It has cooled down sufficiently to ice, so we can hook into it.
Hea ngā kai whakauru, so what are the ingredients for that?
So we need about 60 grams of cream cheese, about 30 grams of butter, and a dash of vanilla essence, or if you prefer, a little bit of lemon juice. Okay, so I just put in 1.5 cups of icing sugar.
Te katoa?
Don't put it all in at once, because you know what's going to happen. Poof! So you do want it to be nice and thick. You don't want it too runny. That looks quite a good consistency, I think. Lovely. There we go.
Is it just a slapdash or?
It is. Look, depending on whether you're in a hurry or not, you can just put it on top. It looks a bit bland at the moment, so we've got some beautiful dried blueberries here. So we'll just put a little bit of these in the middle. And then these gorgeous nasturtiums, which you can actually eat.
No te maratona, and those are actually from the garden, I think.
Certainly were.
You stole the cookbook and you stole the flowers. Ka whai.
There we go.
Atahua marika. Gorgeous. Kare kore he moko moko rea tēnei. No doubt this is very unusual to have a moment to sit down, have a cup of tea and a piece of cake.
It is, but how delightful.
That was a piece of cake to make, by the way.
Yeah, it's super easy, and it turns out really well, doesn't it? It looks impressive, but so easy.
Atahua, that is so beautiful. Would you like to do the cutting of the cake?
I would be honoured.
Ngā mihi nui kia koe. Thank you so much. That looks delicious. It was easy to make. Piece of cake, as they say.
Fingers crossed.
Tai hoa ka kite. Lots of good flavours. How good are those crunchy blueberries on the top too?
Really, really yummy. And see, as I say, super moist, will last for a week, if it lasts that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
E hara I te parakuihi, it's not breakfast time, but it's been wonderful to spend some cup of tea time and inspirational time with you. Koia kei a koe. Thank you so much for coming. E te wahine toa.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Here's to a cup of tea and cake.
Life's good.